I'm backstage with my first guest, Bruce. Bruce, why are you here?
My phone call, it was because of accusations that my father made about me. He called the school and saying that I molested my daughter. And I was just here to try to clear that up.
And when was this?
About 13 years ago.
This happened 13 years ago?
Yes.
Have you seen your father since then?
No.
And what happened since your dad made these allegations?
It pretty much ruined my life. I haven't seen my kids at all. I have a boy and a girl, and they were just taken from me, and I had to go through a lot of court battles, and it's just drained me physically and mentally.
How old were your children at the time?
My daughter was 5 and my son was 4.
And so you're living just a normal life, you're raising your kids.
Yes, trying to. My daughter was molested, but it was not by me.
Why did your dad get it in his head that you were the one doing it?
From what the courts told me and what he told me, it was that...
You've never had a conversation with your father after this?
I confronted him about it and he denied it.
He said he didn't do it.
That's right.
And did you know that he did it?
Yes, because the school actually told me that it was him.
He notified the school and said, this is what's going on.
Yes.
And then what happens to you?
I ended up losing custody of my kids. I was dragged through a lot of court battles and everything like that. And I was forced to sign over parental rights for both of my children.
How were you forced to sign over your parental rights?
I had an attorney that was, if I was willing to take it to a state level, then I could have won or I could have lost. But I was mentally and physically destroyed.
Did you sign over your rights?
Yes, I did.
Why would you sign your rights? Why wouldn't you say, no, I want to go all the way with this. Nobody's going to take my kids away. I'm going to fight this, and I'm not signing over my kids. I didn't do anything wrong.
Because it drained me mentally, and it drained me financially.
And why did you call the show?
Well, things were going on that Bruce Jr., first of all, had told me about this,
Your son.
my son.
What was he telling you what was going on?
Well, he told me that his daughter was saying things that children wouldn't be saying, sexually molested, etc. My granddaughter wasn't saying by name, saying daddy.
Saying daddy's...
But she called another man daddy.
But you're with your son, and your son comes to you and says, she's saying some inappropriate things, right? For a child, not inappropriate, but she's saying things a child wouldn't say.
Right.
About sexual things.
Right.
Your granddaughter is 5 years old at the time.
Right.
She knows that Bruce Jr. is her dad.
Right. I was proud of my son because he went through a divorce and fought for custody of the kids.
And he got custody of the kids.
And he is a very good person.
Did your granddaughter say who was doing it to her?
Daddy.
At that point, don't you then pick up the phone and say, Bruce, we got a little bit of a problem here?
There wasn't really a chance for conversation because this all happened like within a day or two. We just, boom, all at once.
There's a chance for conversation, Bruce. If you're sitting around and a little girl says, and you come home from work and you hear this, I would think your first thing would be is to walk over to the phone and call your son.
That might have been an oversight.
An oversight? How do you have an oversight like that?
Well,
This is your granddaughter. She's saying she's molested. She's saying daddy did it. Your son has custody, full custody of the children, right? And you don't pick, the first thing as a father, you don't pick him up saying, hey, what's going on?
I may have. It's been a long time. I don't recall.
Oh, come on, Bruce.
But I did.
You did call the school, though, right?
Yeah. I thought, there'd be an investigation.
And there was.
Guess what? No investigation.
Well, there
They
was
come
some
in and swept.
investigation.
They
took
just
your kids.
swept. Gone. Kids gone. Everything's gone.
And you're saying one phone call, no investigation, and your whole family got wiped out.
Right.
And you're here today because you want to at least patch things up with your son.
I love my son and I love my grandchildren.
Do you have any feelings of remorse, Feelings of being guilty, man, maybe I handled this the wrong way.
Yes,
What, is there anything that you want to say to your son?
I love him.
All right, well, I'm going to give you a chance. If he's willing to come out, maybe you could tell him that.
I just don't understand why you would do that. Why you would call and make an accusation like that.
Well, with what was being said, you know, I believe but you had already told me that she was saying these things. I don't know what went wrong back there, why the wires get crossed.
Yeah, to that other guy, the one that was molesting her. And like you knew in the beginning, when I first started fighting for custody of my kids, with that whole family and everything, with that guy that was molesting my daughter, she was always calling him
You was telling
for
me
that
that.
first 10 months before I got custody of him.
Yeah, you was telling me that.
To me, it just is, it's odd. If you're saying your son told you that there's some, thing going on with his daughter, then she comes over, and you don't even pick up the phone. You don't go over to your son. You don't call him over, nothing. Did he pick up the phone when this allegation? Did he call you and say, hey, your
remember.
daughter just said this?
No, I found out through the school.
14 years. Your grandchildren been out of your life. Your son's been out of your life. And, no phone call, no nothing. You haven't seen him. He's standing right here. No emotion at all. No, hey, I love you. I'm sorry. I regret. Bruce Sr., you took a lie detector test. Did you encourage your granddaughter to say that her father sexually molested her? You answered no. Did you fabricate the story that your son touched his daughter inappropriately? No. Did you ever have any sexual contact with your granddaughter? You answered no. Was it your intention to have your son get his children taken away? You answered no. And the results of those lie detector tests is that your father told the truth. You had probably good intentions, but probably just, I don't know. Do you feel you handled it the wrong way? Any reaction?
Well, I couldn't keep my mouth shut. I had to protect them grandchildren.
Why didn't you come to me and talk to me?
No.
Does this change anything between you?
I don't know. I just can't be out on stage, though.
I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry.
You got to see your son, and he's making a decision, I guess, that even with this, he doesn't want you in his life.
I can understand that. Now, I was told that he took a lie detector test.
You lose your son, he walks off stage, and that's what you're worried about?
I would like to get to the bottom of this, to find out.
But you didn't
If
bother,
my
you didn't
children-
bother 14 years ago to pick up the phone and ask him. You lost your son and your kids, and now you want to get to the bottom of it. Now, 14 years go by. You say you couldn't find your son? He's like, hell, I lived in the same town with you. I mean, this guy comes out, he's like, yeah, you know what? You destroyed my life. Basically, I would say you destroyed yours too. If you really wanted your son in your life, your grandkids, all gone.
Yeah.
And again, no phone call to your son. Nothing. Hey, come over here. We need to talk.
Well, he wouldn't talk to me at that time anyway, and I wouldn't blame him.
Well, how do you know? You just said that he was telling you that there was something going on.
Right.
So what are you saying? He was talking to you.
Not after his kids were taken away.
Because you made the phone call. And you know what? And the choice that you made, you don't have your son, and you don't
That's
have
right.
your grandkids. And you know what? You got what you wanted. You got to see your son, and he told you what he wants in his life. So as I'm concerned, show's over.